All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Thursday night. We are talking some UFC Fight Night. Yeah, that's all it is. Pay-per-view last week. Shout out Peter Yan. Like he's watching the show. I'm shouting him out. But man, what a insane performance. Just an absolute masterclass against Merab last week. I couldn't have been any more wrong. And yeah, the bank account suffered from it. My account dwindled because I didn't play nearly as much Yan as I should have. I did get a little thanks to Sheets. Always brings up the numbers, the game theory. It is a % chance to win. That's even if it's minus 415 plus 285 or whatever it is, it still has some chance. And you definitely needed Piotr Yan last week. But we got 13 fights this week. It was 12. Then we got King Green, Lance Gibson added Tuesday. That is absolutely huge. I thought it was a pretty mediocre card for DFS with 12. 13 makes it a lot better. Real life, we're talking, I don't know, a couple fun, a couple hilarious fights top to bottom. By no means a great card, but plenty of money to be made. Last card of the year. I want to shout out everyone who's been with us throughout the whole year. We are off for about a month. I think January 24th or something like that. The UFC will be back. They're moving to Paramount, so I think they're like doing one extra week off or something like that. So last show of the year. Hope everybody out there has a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Wishing that early. We will be back in 2026, Big Marley and I. Time to bring you in, Big Marley. How you doing? What are your thoughts on this card? And yeah, anything else you want to talk about?
I'm good. I feel like they could have gave us a better card to close the year. Ideally a pay-per-view, but it's a good DFS card, I think, if we keep all 13 fights, because it's tough, man. I've tried to build a couple hand-built lineups, and I just have landed on nothing. And Sean Tucker gets a freaking touchdown, and I have Bucky and everything.
Unbelievable. I needed Baker.
But I think I'm just going to MME this card and just kind of find as many fades as I can. I know I got one that'll be somewhat on later, but then maybe throw like 50 lineups in and just hope to get lucky. Come around a tight core and hope that it hits.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know by now, I'm definitely an MME over single entry person. I think it's a solid MME card. I think a variety of fighters in the upper tier that have big upside, and I think there's plenty of live dogs on this card as well, as you can see right here. Put these odds up on Monday. The biggest favorite on the card, minus 400. The next biggest favorite after that, around the minus 300 range. So we'd like to see that. Go collect YSN, Bryant in here. Love to see that as well. Everyone hanging out, we do appreciate it. Like button. Subscribe button helps us out a ton. And again, we'd love to have you at the Nation. You can see about 5 days for $19 using the code SHIP19. Get in for the last UFC card. Again, prize pool's already out. They're very big. Get some NFL content, NBA, and NHL as well. We would love to have you. I say we take a bottom to top. Any broad slate or anything you wanna say before we go fight by fight?
No, I'm ready. I usually try to do ownership before we start the show, but I'm running blind here. Maybe I'll try and do some as we go, but I got nothing so far. So this is my first look. I've gone over the card, but my first real DFS look, I'd say.
Sounds good. And then the one thing I wanted to mention, so this King Green Lance Gibson fight, again, I mentioned it was a late ad on Tuesday. The fight will be, I believe it's after or it's before Kennedy. I believe it's somewhere right in this 5-6 range, 5-6-7. It's just because I had everything already typed out. Yeah, come on. I didn't want you to do that. You guys have kids, hoop tam, all that. I have never said that in my life. Never will. Never have done the motions. And I thought about it in the back of my head. But they're all independent to each other. We're going to talk like the stone bottom to top. But because all the numbers and stuff were in, it made my life a lot easier. All right, let's go bottom to top, even though it's not the first fight. King Green, the name change. King Green minus 210, taking on Lance Gibson Jr. plus 180, minus 160 for this fight to finish. Green plus 170 inside the distance. Gibson plus 215. What stood out to me, I'll throw it to you right away, but Gibson plus 215 inside the distance and plus 180 money line. That's a really good inside the distance prop. Almost all of his win equity is pretty much by finish, is what they're saying. I have interest at 7,200 just for that fact alone. King Green, he throws a lot of volume. He has that late finish upside, death by 1,000 cuts. He's shown upside in the past, and I think he has to be relatively low owned at a 9K price tag. So, yeah, this is a fight I'm going to be targeting. Again, it's not the first fight of the night, but minus 160 to finish. I'll be having some of both sides. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'll have some of both sides too. And it's definitely interesting that Gibson's inside the distance line would be that close to his money line, because he didn't strike me as that type of fighter. I think he is pretty decent everywhere. I could see him beating Bobby Green if he used his wrestling. His offensive striking solid. I do think he is more of a striker than a wrestler too, which is not great for him in this matchup. But he can put it all together well. He's got power in his hands. He's just a little too low volume for me. So if it is a striking match, I think that's where Bobby is going to shine. He's going to double up Gibson on the feet, is what I'm thinking. And I mean, he can really get going and maybe even triple him up late if he starts feeling himself. Possible late knockout puts him on the optimal as well. But he's going to be a pivot from Kape for me. And then Gibson at 7,200, I think I'll be overweight on him and just hope that he can come through, because in my mind, like, what's this fight do for King Green? Like, I just don't see how he gets hyped up for this fight. A win really does nothing for his career other than gets him back in the win column. But Gibson, this changes his life. So I think I'm going to be more so on the underdog. But my pick to win was Bobby Green, because I do think this mainly stays on the feet, and he probably is going to land, almost twice as many strikes, I'm thinking, on the feet, which will get it done.
Yeah, I mean, when Bobby Green gets in flow state, the hands coming from the hips, just pawing him out there, volume for days, busting up the nose. Like, he's a fun fighter. He can be. 39 years old, as you see on the stone, though. I'm worried about the chin, which I think has a lot to do with the reason Gibson's inside the distance prop so close to the money line. I think, kind of like you said, I think they struggle to see Gibson winning a decision due to the volume factor. And if he does win, he knocks Green down or something like that. One thing I wanted to mention, King Green's last 7 wins for DFS: 121, 128, 107, 105, 111, 97, 110. For someone that doesn't wrestle, those are very, very impressive numbers. And again, the ownership has to be in check with Manel Kape, 9,200. We have another 9K, $7,200 fighter, a couple heavyweight favorites that are going to get ownership. So, yeah, it's a fight I'm going to be playing both sides to kick it off, even though, again, it's not to kick it off. All right, to kick it off, actually the first fight of the card, we have women's going at it. Teresa Bleda, Jamie Lynn Horth. Bleda where is that? Minus 160. Wow, let me refresh this. That is some line movements. Decent bit. Let's see. Minus 139 on Monday. Now minus 160. Okay, interesting. Jamie Lynn Horth plus 140 on the way back. Plus 215 for this fight to finish. We have Bleda plus 300 inside the distance. Horth plus 600. You can see a big age gap, 11 years for Bleda. She is the younger fighter. She hasn't fought for like 2 years, though, 2.5 years, which I don't love to see. At the end of the day, this is the most likely fight to go the distance. You're parlaying, getting a coin flip. Actually, I can't even say coin flip fight anymore. Bleda's a decent favorite, but a fight that's supposed to go the distance, pretty heavily favored to do so. There's some wrestling upside maybe on the Bleda side. I don't know. I'm not really playing this fight. I think the mid-tier is very weak, actually, outside of that Kennedy-Marcus fight that we'll get to. So no thanks for me. What about you?
Yeah, it's my least favorite fight on the card to watch and for DFS. So I'm going to try to fade it. But my preferred play is going to be Bleda. She's just 11 years younger, taller, longer, stronger, and I think the better wrestler as well. Horth probably has the striking edge here, but a striking match isn't going to really cut it, I don't think, especially if she's going to be taken down a couple times throughout the fight, which I do expect. So I think we're going to get a low score from either side, but Bleda is the one with more upside. Probably won't have much ownership, so I'm fine throwing her into lineups, but I agree. Mid-range kind of sucks this week.
Okay, so Bleda, what would you set her takedown prop at? Or can she get 5 takedowns in this spot? Can she score 95?
I would set it at 1.5, 2.5. But I feel like she's 2 to 4 range.
Okay, 4 takedowns, 7 minutes of control time, 90, 88. I don't know. It's still
probably not going to get it there, and I feel like she's not real active either when she does get the fight to the ground. But I think if she wins this fight, she has to wrestle. And I mean, that's always good for DFS. So I'm fine throwing her in, but definitely not somebody I want to target. And since she is like the second cheapest as a favorite, I just feel like I won't even need to get to her. I'd rather go with the stars and scrubs approach.
Yeah, no, I agree with you as well. This is a fight fade for me. With Bleda having to wrestle, who knows how she'll look after 2 years. Like, if I were to pick a side, it would be the Bleda side as well. But if you're only making a handful of teams, that's a fight fade for us both. One that's definitely not a fight fade is this next one, arguably one of the best fights on the card. Guilherme Pat taking on Alan Frye, minus 175 Pat, plus 150 is Frye, minus 600 for this fight to finish, the second most likely on the card. Pat minus 125 inside the distance, Frye plus 170. Pat in round one, plus 155. Frye in round one, plus 325. I mean, what a slop fest. Like, this is kind of the hilarious fights I'm talking pre-show. No clue what to expect. Both guys young in their pro career, both making their UFC debut. I couldn't even find Alan Frye's reach. Like, I'm expecting very gross, but hey, very gross in real life can mean very good in DFS. Under 1.5, pretty heavily favored. The pricing on both sides is great. If you want to leave salary, you can build any Kape team, drop Kape down to Pat. You're not giving up any upside. I could argue you're actually getting more upside. So, yeah, great fight. You have it a 5-star. I couldn't agree more. Yeah,
great DFS fight. Might not be a great fight in real life. I just don't know what to expect from this one. There's not a lot of film on either guy. And I did this on Sunday, and now on Thursday, I don't remember Frye at all. So I'm kind of running blind on this Frye guy. But in my notes, I just said that I think Pat looks more the part. He, like, even his body looks more the part. He looks like a fighter. And I think his striking looks better, looks more powerful as well. So I'm picking him to get the knockout. I'll be overweight to Pat for sure. But you just kind of have to be overweight to both sides on this fight. Not go all in, but go heavy on this fight and hope that the casuals more so avoid it because they don't know who either one is. But this is going to be my possible favorite fight on the card to target because I like unknowns, and we have a minus 650 inside the distance.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree anymore. We'll have another very, very similar fight coming up. Also heavyweight fight, minus 650 to finish. But the pricings are better for Pat and Frye. Sign me up on both sides. I do not care which one I get more of. I just know I want a bunch of both. We'll keep it rolling. Another mid-tier fight in the women's division that is the second most likely to go the distance. Luana Santos, minus 126. Melissa Croden, plus 106. Plus 180 for this fight to finish. We have Santos plus 360 inside the distance. Croden plus 360 inside the distance. Yeah, I mean, a very similar fight, I think, kind of the other one. I do think it's going to be Santos trying to wrestle, Croden trying to keep it on the feet. With that being said, though, the $800 difference still leads me to the striker and Croden as my preferred play. I don't love it, no, but she's $800 cheaper. It's pretty much a coin flip. Money's been coming in on her. Again, if no dogs win, one dog wins. Maybe her scoring 80 is enough in a decision. I don't like it, though. But, yeah, give me the savings with her. Are you going to be playing any Santos? I see you have it a 3-star every which way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one, really. I do think that it is kind of a binary fight where they're both well-rounded, but Santos should have the wrestling grappling edge. Croden should have the striking edge. And if either one of them has their way, I think they could put up a pretty good score here. If Santos gets takedowns in all 3 rounds, she's possible alive for a sub too. But even in the decision, I think her wrestling could get there if she is wrestling. My issue would be that the wrestling's not working out. She doesn't go for it as much, and it ends up being a striking match. Then I don't want any Santos, and Croden would be the play for sure. I think she could be high volume. She could crack Santos as well. But, yeah, I just don't feel good about it if Santos is getting takedowns and then Croden's winning on the feet, and then it's a back-and-forth fight. Probably don't get a big score from either one. So it's definitely closer to a 2-star than it is a 4-star for me. But I have it 3s all the way around because I could see it going any which way in this fight. So I don't want to X either one out. I don't want to be heavy on either one. But I'm fine with this one being more of my 6th spot in a hand-built lineup.
I'm getting a little more like what are the chances it's just domination from Santos through wrestling? She can get 4 takedowns, 10 minutes of control time, and you need her.
I don't know, man. I just don't know how good Croden is. Croden looks like she could be pretty legit. So I just don't know that Santos is that good on the ground. But I also, Croden's 34 years old now at this point, so maybe she's not that legit. I just don't know, man. This is
She'll fight for your dollar. Like, there's no doubt. So I wanted to mention a couple of these fights. Croden, like, so she has one fight in the UFC. Usually when there's nothing in these two columns, it's because it's their UFC debut. Lately, though, I think I'm going to avoid putting, even if they only have one UFC fight, because it shows she averages what, like 6.81 significant strikes per minute, 2.06 takedowns. Like, that just doesn't paint any picture. So I don't even want to put it up there. But she has fought in the UFC before, so I did want to make that as a note. Croden's still my preferred play. Maybe I'll open up my player pool a little bit and keep Santos in and just cap her initially, and then be fine if I get 0. But I mean, regardless, it's not a fight I really like much of. It's just the mid-tier is not very good at all. Another very similar spot is this one. It looks like two guys making their UFC debut, but Sharaf has made his UFC debut. He only did fight once. That was a loss to Junior Tafa last year in October. Now he finds himself as a minus 230 Stephen Asplund finds himself as a minus 230 favorite making his UFC debut, taking on Sharaf, who is plus 195, minus 600 for this fight to finish. Asplund minus 185 inside the distance. Sharaf plus 265. Asplund round 1 plus 125 inside the distance. Asplund the best inside the distance and money line prop, best inside the distance and round 1 prop on the slate. Under 1.5 juiced in this one to minus 180. It's literally copy and paste that Pat Frye fight, in my opinion. It might be gross. Not sure how much of a career these guys have in the UFC, but two pretty bad guys going at it. A fight very heavily favored to finish. Guy's going to be throwing bombs. Someone should fall. Yeah, I want a lot of both sides of this one. What about you?
Yeah, I want a lot of the Asplund side, I think. This Sharaf guy just does not look good. When you only get one takedown in like a minute and a half of control time against Junior Tafa, like, you're probably just not cut out to be in the UFC. But I do think that this line was close. I also don't think that Asplund is good. It's more of a fade on Sharaf. But this line I thought was closer than I expected because of how bad I think that Sharaf is. So I do want some of him for sure. You can't fade him when we have a minus 600 inside the distance line. And he is the one that would be looking to wrestle in this fight. He can also throw some early haymakers and some decent leg kicks early. But I just think he's going to fall apart as the fight moves along. And then Asplund, I think, could get more into it, just a little bit more crazy. The more he gets punched, the more he's going to get a little wild, I think. And he's going to be throwing the heavier strikes. I think he is the better striker. I think he's more durable. So give me Asplund by an early knockout. He's going to be one of my favorite plays on the slate. But I don't think he's very good in general. So it's not one that I really want to go all in on. It's just that this is a good fight to target, and he's my pick to win it.
Yeah, I could see it being something like 40% Asplund, though, like 16% Sharaf. And if we're looking at that, just the game theory on that, if Sharaf wins, it should be almost, it's hard to see it not scoring. And then it's because under 1.5 favored so much, it's almost like an early knockout. And then Asplund scores very poorly. So you just have so much leverage and you can jump the field if a lot of chalk goes down. Again, that's why I play multiple lineups. I want to play a lot of Asplund for obvious reasons, but I definitely want some Sharaf for leverage with very similar upside as well. Just a great fight to target. Those two sloppy heavyweight fights, Pat Frye, Asplund, Sharaf. Who knows how it'll look in real life? I'm excited to see because it could be funny. But yeah, for DFS, it's two of the best fights to target on the card. We'll keep it rolling to another UFC debut. Yaroslav Amosov taking on Neil Magny. Amosov minus 400, Magny plus 300, minus 145 for this fight to finish. Amosov plus 100 inside the distance, Magny plus 525. So Amosov, the highest price fighter on the card, the biggest favorite, $200 more than the next highest price fighter in Manel Kape. You're the Neil Magny whisperer, man. You call it when he's a big dog, and he finds a way to win most times. I'm always pretty much against him. He's definitely costing me money. I'm debating fading him again. It just feels like, why would Amosov not come out and wrestle? And he should dominate on top. With that being said, Magny just finds ways to win. So do you think he does it again this week?
No, I don't think he's going to do it, but I'm not going to fade him. I think he is live to win this fight. I think he's the better striker. He's going to have the better cardio for sure. And I just don't trust Amosov enough, really, for him to even be a minus 400 favorite. If I had to bet this fight, I'd rather take Magny at plus 300s. But I do feel confident that Amosov is going to come in here looking to wrestle heavily. And he is a pretty relentless wrestler when he wants to be too. He can get a takedown, kind of let the guy get up every now and then he'll go right back for the takedown immediately. And I like to see those kind of guys in the UFC. He's someone who could get 10 takedowns in a UFC fight and score great in a decision. Probably not against Magny, but he is going to have to wrestle heavily to win this fight. And I think he'll land, 3 to 6 takedowns, 2 to 6 takedowns possibly, and do enough to win the first and the second round at least. So he's my pick to win. But if he doesn't win the wrestling in one of those 2 rounds, I feel like he is going to slow down either way with his wrestling. Magny's not going to slow down. I like Magny to have the overall striking edge, especially the later this fight goes. And Magny's slick off his back late too if Amosov does slow down. So lots of ways I think for Magny to win. 6,800 super cheap. He kind of lets you do whatever else you want with your lineup, especially if you're going to get like Royval in there too. But not someone I'm looking to target because of Royval, but I'm definitely going to play some Magny.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to play a lot of teams probably like usual, so I'll get some Magny. If I was playing 10 or less, I'm not sure I click the button. But again, I've said that multiple times.
Yeah, I agree, actually. If I was making 10 or less, I'm probably not playing Magny.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. Yeah, I just think Amosov has success wrestling. Who knows, though? The Jake Matthews fight. Like, Jake Matthews had him armbar round 1. The ref just lets it go, and Magny gets his submission in round 3, or I don't know if it was a TKO or whatever. Like, he's just in some wild fights sometimes. So fight for your dollar. He has good cardio. But I think Amosov wrestles and has success wrestling. Probably wins a decision. I don't know, finish decision. What I do know is I like the fight fade more than anything in this fight, though. With Amosov 9,400, like, I think there's plenty of upper tier fighters you can leave money. King Green, Pat, Asplund, Jillian Robertson, like Manel Kape. I just think so many have a lot of upside up top. You can leave money pretty easily. If you go from $0 with Amosov to leaving 600, you will definitely be different. Like to Robertson, you'll definitely be different and can eliminate some dupes. So yeah, I'll play a little Amosov, probably not much Magny, have plenty of fight fades. Next fight on the card, this was supposed to be Joe Anderson Brito and Melsik Bagdasaryan. Out on Tuesday was Bagdasaryan, in is Isaac Thomson. The nice thing is the odds are very close on both fights, the Melsik Brito fight and the Brito Thomson fight. So they just put Thomson right where Melsik was priced at 7,200. So no change there, which you like to see. As you see on Tuesday, though, this line opened minus 300. Now it's actually, it opened minus 700. Immediately got a lot of buy on Thomson. Now all the way down to minus 218, plus 188. I see under a 1.5 at plus 161. That is the only prop I do see. But wow, what a wide opening line. Plus 7 or minus 700. Thomson gets slammed. You can see Thomson making his UFC debut, only 23 years old. Looks like he'll fight for your dollar. It looks like he's actually fought some solid competition, which you like to see. Brito's always live for an early finish. He's strong. He's powerful. He can wrestle. But 9K is a big price tag. So how do you view him compared to others in the upper tier? And then what about Thomson?
Yeah, I almost made this a 2-star because I really don't love Brito in this matchup. But he is strong. He's powerful. He could get a knockout. He could also use that power to wrestle. But he's not active enough for me for a 9K fighter. If he's not going to get a finish, I just don't think he's going to land like a 6+ takedowns. He's more of a 1 to 4 type of takedowns. And then what do we have him on the feet landing? 2.48 strikes per minute. I mean, that's not great. It's good when you're getting knockdowns along the way. But I think Thomson is good. I think he's good everywhere. It's like he grew up fighting. So he's kind of got a full, well-rounded MMA game. It's just that he's taking this fight on short notice against Brito, who is good, who's fought good UFC competition, been up there in the rankings. And I just think it's a little bit too much too soon, where Brito, even though he's probably not going to be higher on volume, I also don't think Thompson's a high volume striker either, where he's going to blow Brito away. So maybe Brito landing the harder shots can win him the minutes on the feet. And then the wrestling could go either way, but I think the strength of Brito and the submission grappling edge to Brito gives him the overall edge there too. So I'm picking him to win by decision, but at 9K, I don't really want a Brito decision on my lineups, I don't think. So it's more of a 2-star to me, and I might end up switching it to 2-star Brito, 4-star Thomson. It's somewhere in between there. But overall, not one I'm looking to target. It's more one where I'm okay getting either one of them into my lineup. And I might even switch it. Maybe Thompson's my preferred play of the two. It's just that I haven't really seen it yet for him to beat a guy like Brito, but I also don't think that it's clear that Brito is going to beat him.
Thompson's my preferred play for the 1,800 savings. It has to do with a lot of I think the upper tier is so strong. If under 1.5 is plus 161, I'm definitely going to wait for his inside the distance prop, the round 1 prop. But maybe I set his max at the round 1 prop, 9K. If he gets a second round finish, sure, it can be enough. But it's almost like he would then need a second round finish. Third round, I don't think he gets there. Again, so many, we talked about King Green, Pat, Asplund, Jillian Robertson, we're talking about Kape. There's definitely upside in the upper tier. Yeah, this Thomson guy looks solid to me. And I mean, just the line movement alone, minus 700 to minus 212 that quickly. I prefer the Thomson side in the savings, and I'll probably be underweight Brito. I do want to see Thompson's props, though. I am waiting. As you can see, no props yet. This is why the inside the distance column is blank. But, not a fight I love right now. Thomson, my preferred play. If anything changes, I will put a note at the end in the Slate plan, which you can find right here. Again, MMA, Slate plan, bunch of MMA content, projections, ownership, core reports, Slate plan, Big Marley's fight rankings, tier rankings, breaking down every tier. Also do have a education video Big Marley and I did, education MMA. Check it out if you are a Shippin' Nation member. And again, if you're not, you can get in as low as $19 using the code SHIP19, 5 days for $19. Hey, get a little early Christmas present for yourself. Maybe you'll bink, and then you're free rolling for all the presents. So we'd love to have you get in the Discord if you do join. 6 fights left. I'm excited for this one. Jillian Robertson, minus 200. Amanda Lemos, plus 170, minus 155 for this fight to finish. Robertson plus 115 inside the distance. Lemos plus 365. Striker and Lemos versus the grappler and Robertson in a fight favored to finish. All of that sounds pretty good. To make things even better, on Monday, this fight was minus 110 to finish. Now it's minus 155. Robertson was plus 185 inside the distance. Now plus 115. Robertson was minus 163. Now minus 200. All of that line movement is just pointing me to Robertson. And to make things even better, similar to King Green, if you want to hear her last handful of wins in the UFC, 5 wins she has scored. Hold on. It was her last DK scores from 2017. I don't even know. This might be 8, but every single win she's had since 2017. 107, 100, 102, 105, 105, 98, 116, 94, 92, 110, 106, 96, 97. That's pretty good. Now, there isn't 110, too many 110 pluses, but at 8,800, would you take 95 to 105 is what I'll ask, because that's what she gets most times she wins.
Yeah, I'm playing her over Kape all day long.
Yeah, I agree.
I am going to pick her as my pick to win. It is a binary fight where she has to get the fight to the ground. But if she does, she could dominate this fight for all 3 rounds, or she could get a submission in any round. So I expect Robertson to put up a good score. But she cannot strike with Lemos. If she can't land the takedowns, I think she's getting knocked out. So that's going to be a good score for Lemos unless she gets dominated the first 2 rounds and that knockout comes in round 3. But I think it would be more so it's just not happening and Lemos knocks her out early. So I don't know that I want to be overweight to Lemos, but I'll get some exposure there, and I'll for sure be overweight to Robertson. She's one of my top plays on the card, top 3-4 play.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely going to get some Lemos too. I mean, she hits like a truck. She's athletic. The hips are good, but it very well might just be one takedown. That's kind of what this line movement stuff's telling me, is once she does get the takedown, it's GG's. Robertson, very dangerous, very slick grappler on the bottom. So, or when the fight's on the ground, on the bottom or top. she is very dangerous. And Lemos, I mean, she hits like a man at the end of the day. She's got some big boy power. It's hard to hit like a man, though, when you're flat on your back. So great Clash of Styles fight. I prefer the Robertson side. We'll get some Lemos as well. Heavyweight fight. Kennedy Nzechukwu, -128. Marcus Buchecha, +108. -400 for this fight to finish. Kennedy, +115 inside the distance. Buchecha, +145. Buchecha, the slight underdog, +350 in round 1. Kennedy, +375 in round 1. We just talked about a striker versus grappler matchup. Let's repeat. Striker and Kennedy versus the grappler in Buchecha. On Monday, it was -150 Kennedy. Now it is -126. So some money came in on the Buchecha side. -400 to finish, mid-tier fight. We kept talking about how bad the mid-tier is. Yeah, this is a phenomenal mid-tier fight. Will be heavily owned due to the lack of options or appealing options around it. I don't really care what the ownership is. I'll eat the chalk. I'll get different elsewhere. I'll play both sides. Buchecha is my preferred side, though. 600 cheaper as the grappler with the line movement. You can plug a Kennedy team in, go to Buchecha, and not give up anything. So, yeah, that's my preferred side. With that being said, if Buchecha closes like -120 +100, and we're looking at like 39% versus 18%, we're talking a whole different ball game. Then it comes to game theory. So for now, Buchecha my favorite, but yeah, what you project ownership at and depending on line movement could change things. How do you see this fight?
Binary, yeah. I think it's Buchecha gets the fight to the ground and possibly dominates the fight, or he can't get the fight to the ground and Kennedy either knocks him out or cruises and dominates the striking, which would suck. But I think it's more of a knockout or a submission type fight, similar to the last one. I'll be heavy on both sides, but I, again, prefer the grappler. Give me Buchecha. It could be just like Kennedy's last fight where it's just one takedown, fights over shortly after that. But I do think Buchecha could be heavy in top control and just kind of dominate the fight, maybe right at the first round, get a late submission, put up 110 points. I do like him, but this is the best mid-range fight to target. I think the winner's probably going to be on the optimal lineup. Really my favorite couple Kennedy lineups. Ideally, I would duplicate those and put Buchecha in there too, and then you're getting a lot less dupes that way.
Absolutely, and you're not giving up much. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if this fight closes as a pick-em. You actually get a slightly better inside the distance prop, around one prop on the Buchecha side with the wrestling upside. So, yeah, Buchecha, my preferred play. Kennedy, I mean, his highs are very high, his lows are very low. I mean, the OSP fight, but then you can go to the Albert fight where he was getting his ass beat, but he stood in there and then finally finished him in round 2. So, yeah, great fight to target. Mid-tier week. This fight is very good. Let's go to another mid-tier fight, a straight pick-em, -110 apiece. Mel Costa taking on Morgan Charriere, +150 for this fight to finish. Charriere +195 inside the distance. Costa +600. Charriere is definitely my preferred side. I don't love coin flip fights that are favored to go the distance. I talk about it a lot. You're parlaying a lot of stuff. With that being said, I get a +195 inside the distance guy against a +600. And I think Charriere more likely to wrestle in this one as his takedown defense is much better. Mel Costa's takedown defense is sitting at 58%. Charriere's is 83%. -110 apiece. Give me the guy that has some wrestling upside that's 3 times more likely to win inside the distance. I still don't love the fight, but Charriere is the one I'm going to click more than Costa. What about you?
Yeah, I really don't want to click this fight at all because I don't feel good about either side. I think it is going to be a close fight, a back-and-forth fight, and a 3-round fight. And I don't see either one of these guys really just putting a stamp on the optimal lineup in a 3-round fight. I give Charriere the wrestling advantage and the power advantage, but I give Costa the speed advantage and the submission grappling advantage. I think it could be close on the feet. It could be close on the ground. I just have no real lean on this fight, and I'm hoping that it is back and forth and the winner scores 70 points, and we just don't care who wins. So my goal is going to be to play this fight like it's a 1-star, but I didn't want to make it a 1-star because my 1-stars are like, I feel good that this fight's not going to score anything at all, but either one of these guys could put up 90 plus. I just don't feel good about clicking the button and who it's going to be. So I'm just going to try to get away from it and hope it's not only optimal. I actually don't even know. I think I picked Costa because it was plus 100 or something. I'm not sure on this one, but really no real pick. But I think Costa was my pick.
Sounds good. Yeah, again, my thoughts. Charriere, my preferred play. I agree with you, though. Not a fight. I want to target very much. The mid-tier, it's very weak. There's no doubt, outside of the Kennedy and Marcus fight. 3 fights left. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out. Oh, we ask like button and subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. I'm excited for this one. Michael Oleksiejczuk's brother is making his UFC debut. Cesare Oleksiejczuk minus 205, taking on Cesar Almeida plus 175. Once this opens, minus 250 for this fight to finish. Cesare at minus 115 inside the distance. Almeida plus 300. Oleksiejczuk in round 1 plus 250. I'll ask you this. Do you think Oleksiejczuk wrestles in this one? Obviously a primary striker, but so is Almeida. Almeida's like he beat Alex Pereira in kickboxing. Everyone always talks about that. Just a pure striker, a very good one. Cesare a pure striker too, but if I'm not mistaken, we saw Michelle Oleksiejczuk put on the wrestling shoes, or he tried to against Sharaf. Outside of that, he really doesn't wrestle. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Do you think he just comes in, stands and bangs, or do you think he mixes in takedowns?
I don't really know. I picked him because he can mix in takedowns and has more ways to win this fight, but he is a striker. Maybe the more powerful striker of the two, probably the more powerful striker of the two, but Almeida is just the way better, more seasoned kickboxer. Could hit Oleksiejczuk with shots he doesn't see coming type of knockouts. But I think that the striking, if I knew it was a 15-minute striking match, I would lean with Almeida in this one. But I'm picking Oleksiejczuk because I think the knockout is in play for his win equity. And I also think maybe 1 to 3 takedowns could be enough, where I think the striking's close enough, but then he gets those takedowns and he possibly wins every round because of them. And then when I was building my lineups, I was picking other favorites first, and he just wasn't ending up in there. And then I needed underdogs, and I was like, well, shoot, maybe I like Almeida in this fight, because if he can't get takedowns and this is a striking match, that's Almeida's fight. I mean, Roman Kopylov was trying to get takedowns against this guy like his life depended on it. So he is the real deal on the feet, but he's 37 years old, 12 years older. And Oleksiejczuk is the younger and probably better brother of the two, which is, I always like the younger brother. They kind of grew up idolizing their older fighting brother. And I think typically that leads to them being just the more better athlete and fighter in general. So he's my pick, but not one I feel good about. And if I need to end up with more Almeida lineups because of it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Almeida just because I thought the number was a little wide for someone that I think is probably a striking fight. And if so, I just think the line's wrong that way. But Cesare could wrestle. He still could knock out Almeida on the feet. He has multiple ways to get there, and he's only 8,700. So, again, I can build any Kape team, go Kape down to Cesare and feel fine with it. There's a lot more round 1 equity, knockdown equity, maybe wrestling. There's plenty of outs for Cesare to get there. Also, his ownership has to stay somewhat in check, right in between Pat and Asplund, the two heavyweight fights that are very heavily favored to finish. So, yeah, I think it's a solid fight. I will be playing both sides. Not even sure my preferred play. I know I said Almeida wins, but if he wins a decision, he still might not score enough at 7,500, assuming some other dogs win. So, kind of a fight I just want to be around the field with on both, and I don't want anything to burn me any result of this fight. All right, two fights left. Kevin Vallejos minus 300. Giga Chikadze plus 250, plus 105 for this fight to finish. Vallejos plus 145 inside the distance. Giga plus 600. Yeah, I mean, it's Vallejos or pass for me, and I really don't love Vallejos due to Giga just runs around the octagon and tries to make it a boring kickboxing fight. Vallejos, I think, has to find the chin in rounds 1 or 2, and at the end of the day, over 2.5 is minus 155. And even if Vallejos gets a second round knockout, there's no guarantee he's optimal. So, yeah, Vallejos or pass, and more teams for me will probably pass.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just really don't think I'm going to get to Giga. He's kind of a long-term fade for me. I never play him in DFS. He's a pure kickboxer. So he doesn't need this fight to be on the feet, and he probably is going to get that. But Vallejos is a pressure fighter. He's a power puncher. He can also load up volume, get in Giga's face, and not let him get that kickboxing footwork that he would need. And Vallejos is our more likely wrestler as well. So he's my pick to win, my pick to be more likely to be on the optimal lineup. But 9,100 is a lot to pay, and Giga is a good defensive fighter. So I think we're kind of relying on the knockout from Vallejos, and I agree. Maybe I prefer more of my lineups to not have this fight.
Yeah, not a fight I like very much, like Brian said. But a lot of Giga's fights have been low pace. He wants to fight at range, wants to bounce around, pick his shots, either get a KO or a boring decision is his game plan. Main event time. Again, we appreciate everyone hanging out. Last fight of the year, and I will say on a pretty subpar fight night, which they just got off of a pay-per-view. It's the last one. Who knows who all wants to fight on the last card of the year. They got a great one in the main event. Anytime I see Brandon Royval's name, you know you're in for a dogfight. Manel Kape, not necessarily the case. He can be in some boring fights. Very, very skilled, though. Very powerful, good wrestler, very athletic. He is a big favorite at minus 270 over Brandon Royval at plus 230. Minus 190 for this fight to finish. We have Kape minus 125 inside the distance. Royval plus 465. I see you have 4 stars Kape, 2 stars, or excuse me, 4 stars Royval, 2 stars Kape, 4 stars for this fight. Are you picking the big underdog in Brandon Royval?
Yeah, I am picking Royval.
All right.
And I would have bet him already if I didn't go to YouTube and see that 70+% of people were picking Royval to beat Kape in their poll. So I always hate when that happens, but Kape is just somebody I never play at 9K. Even in a 5-round fight, I'm just not interested. He's a low volume. I mean, not low volume, but too low of a volume striker in DFS, and he doesn't wrestle. So I would prefer the Royval side, who I think is more likely to wrestle. He is a very high volume striker. It looks like they're really close neck and neck, but when you watch these guys, boy, it looks like Royval could double Kape up, and he's more consistent with his high volume as well. Kape is kind of like a King Green, though, where he can really start to feel himself and get going on the feet. A little bit more powerful, pound for pound, I'd say, than King Green. He is more likely to get the knockout. But I think this fight's going to go the distance or at least go a few rounds. And in that case, give me Royval all day. If Royval wins, he's on the optimal lineup. If Kape wins, I don't even think he makes the optimal lineup. So I'm literally Xing out Kape. I'm not going to play any of him. I don't think I'll get to 150 lineups. But even if I do, first move I'm doing is Xing out Kape. And I'm fine playing anyone we've talked about around his range instead of him at possibly lower ownership, because main event favorites are always going to have ownership, even if they're not a good stylistic DFS play.
I could see Kape being a little lower owned than most main event favorites. And when I say that, maybe like a 36%.
38.
But you're absolutely still right. That very well could still be over owned. I'm picking Kape. And the reason I'm picking Kape is I think his takedown defense is enough for Royval that he can't wrestle. On the feet, I just think Royval's volume's great. I'm not saying he has pillows for hands, but when you're comparing him to Kape, like Royval can still double land or like land twice as more, but Kape's just one shot just knocks him down. Like I think there's multiple knockdown upside. He just went through the war against Joshua Van months ago. Not sure about his chin. I know he's going to fight for the dollar, but Kape, man, when he is flow state, like the Zalgas fight, it's insane. Like the dude just can't miss. So strong. However, then he goes through fights like Nicolau where it's just a staring match for 15 minutes and it's super boring. Kape falls down the list as my favorite upper tier fighters because there's 25 minutes. He's favored to finish. I play a lot of lineups. I'm picking him to win. I'm going to have some, not asked about Royval's ownership. You said high 40s. Yeah, probably like 42%, 40%. I think something like that. 38 maybe. I do see it.
I think I'll start at like 46 and then work my way down actually as I need to. But he's just the easiest underdog to click on, I think. And that allows people to pay up for other favorites. So I just think he's going to be high. And like you mentioned, Kape will be low for
he'll probably be lower owned.
30 to mid 30s.
Yeah, I think actually Royval will probably be higher owned than Kape straight up. And also for that reason, because I think there is appealing dogs, Frye, Sharaf, Thomson, Buchecha, like I'm probably going to be underweight Royval when it's all said and done, especially if he is in the 40s. And I'm going to be overweight on fight fades on this one. If I think Kape wins a 3rd-round knockout, a 4th-round knockout, decision, all of that, as long as other dogs are winning, there is a path Royval can be optimal in a loss, especially if it's 25 minutes. If not many other underdogs win, I'm hoping some other underdogs win, though. I think he's probably over-owned. Maybe both are over-owned. I definitely will have fight fades in this one. Any final thoughts for you on the last card of the year? ESPN Plus is no more. Paramount is where you'll have to be to catch all the UFC fights. No pay-per-views, though. I'm glad they got rid of the model, not charging people that way. But, yeah, I'm ready to end it in a bang. Any final thoughts for the people before we get on out of here?
Not looking forward to Paramount as well, but hopefully this is a good final card of the year. Hopefully it plays out better than it looks on paper, and hopefully we get somebody winning a buttload of money in DFS. If it's not me, hopefully it's you, Title. If it's not you, hopefully it's somebody listening. But good luck to you. Good luck to everybody listening. Enjoy the holidays. Happy New Year. Thanks for watching, and good luck.
Absolutely. We'll be back next year. Big Marley and I, like always, breaking down all of the fights. You guys enjoy your New Year. Enjoy your Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate with family, with friends. Best time of the year. Absolutely enjoy it. Hopefully you have a little extra money in your pocket due to this card or NFL or anything this weekend. Again, you can join us at Ship Nation for as low as $19 using the code SHIP19 for 5 days. Get in the Discord if you do join as well. That'll do it for us. Have a great year. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Hit the like on the way out for Big Marley. I'm Title Town. Be safe. Peace. Good luck. Let's go.